thought I'd film a little bit in the hospital because mostly I never have, besides when I was admitted a couple of times because I never know what to film. But this is what it looks like. This is my last day of chemo. Here's my hair. This is where they put all of the 4 different drugs of ABVD. Points to you if you can remember what they all stand for. There's definitely dacarbazine, bleomycin, C, always forget. No, there's no C, there's B, vinblastine, and another one. Feeling weird because it is the last day, but you never know because hopefully everything, all the tests come back well, but you just never know. So yeah, just thought I would show you what it's like. That's all. Hi everyone, my name is Alicia Louise Lillington. I am a 33-year-old mum of a 17-month-old, and in March, April 2025, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin lymphoma. Over the last 4+ months, I've been going through ABVD chemotherapy. Can I remember what the ABVD stands for? Some days I can. Doxorubicin, bleomycin, vinblastine, dexamethasone, I think. Something like that. The A doesn't actually start with A, it starts with D. I wanted to film the last video after chemo. I've just completed my 8th chemo of ABVD. I do want to just show my hair because I never shaved it, but it is pretty, not much left. But I guess that's something that I would think about, like, do you have to shave your hair when you have cancer and when you get chemo? And I guess the answer is no. Lately I've been feeling more confident wearing a wig, but I think it's important to show the journey, and I just wanted to record where my hair's up to now because I see a bright future with hair growing back, and yeah, I have to record what it was like in this moment. Sometimes I, write a script and really plan what I'm going to say. Today I've got a few reflections from my journal, but I just want to close out this chapter because I'm really ready to start the next chapter. I'm ready to start August, and although there's been delays and almost had to extend chemo based on a result, I ended up in hospital. I was meant to have my last treatment a certain week and then it got pushed out. But I just said to the universe, I've got to finish this in July. In August will be better. Brighter days are coming. So I wrapped up my job. I was still working part-time, but I wrapped that up in July. There's new opportunities, there's new possibilities in August and the rest of the year and the rest of my life. I have a follow-up PET scan about 4 to 6 weeks from now, and that'll check how everything's going. I have lots of good vibes towards that and a really good feeling, but I don't want to get my hopes up ever because I have just learned from this whole process that you can't control the outcome. You can't plan anything. You can't plan everything, sorry. You can plan some things. I have a little bit of chemo brain, so my words aren't as articulate on those days. So I'll just share some of the reflections. I'll close out this moment, and then the next time that I come on, oh wow, like the wind's just coming at that moment. I do really feel like there's a higher purpose out there. I can't explain it. And then hopefully the next time from there, yeah, it's the next chapter. So let's close this one out. So chemo 8 of 8. It was on the 29th of July 2025. It kind of felt anticlimactic in a way. They gave me a sign saying last day of chemo, but my husband was actually parking the car at the time. There was no one around. There's like a light. It's one of those boards that has writing and a light in the background, but the batteries had run out, and I was just sitting by myself next to this sign, and then people were walking past and being like, oh, well done. But I just felt chill. I didn't want to make a big deal of it. I just wanted to get through it all. I just feel really ready to move on. It's like the end of an era and the start of a new one. It's time for relaxation, recovery, and figuring out who I am now. This is what I was reflecting on in my journal. I feel lucky. I feel blessed. I feel almost closure. I feel lucky to have really great nurses and doctors. This last time they never weighed me when they did the treatment, which was interesting. I wrote myself some poems and different things here. I got a beautiful card from my social worker, Chelsea. I really appreciate her. She's just been such a rock and supportive person throughout this whole journey, and I hope I can be her friend. I hope I can like meet her out somewhere, and outside of all this, because I know there's like patient confidentiality and whatnot, but she's just a beautiful human, and the world needs more people like my social worker, Chelsea G. I tried to like take note of what it was like on the day, and the last needle and cannula going into my arm was very painful. They tried to look at this arm that has a clot in it, because that's my left arm and my non-dominant hand, so I was like, maybe they can use that, but the only vein they could find was good was the one that has the clot still in it, and they did see the clot there. They're like, oh, you're gonna get that checked up, so I'll have another ultrasound for that sometime soon. The needle going in with the ultrasound was very painful, and I just wanted to remember that. Like, I think sometimes I downplay, or I'm just like very positive, but that needle was and cannula was very painful going in. I've been doing a lot of cleaning. I just feel ready to like clean and move on, and these past couple of days when I've had the steroids, they kind of give me a bit of motivation, so I've just been cleaning. I feel ready to let go of things. Over the weekend I did get to do the 70th anniversary speech, and that was a really meaningful full circle moment for me, where I got lots of great feedback, so that was like really exciting. I got my hair washed at my hairdresser's, and they just put this little plait in for me that I keep underneath my wig, but yeah, it's not like my big blow wave that I used to get. I had a couple of meetings lately, and I got to go out for dinner. These little things have just been motivating me, and I feel kind of back to my old life. What else? I get these like weird hiccups on the first few days after chemo, and I just wanted to remember that because they're like a bit painful. My regular nurse, when she called me in for chemo, she didn't recognize me because I wasn't wearing a wig. I just came bald, and I think, you know, sometimes I constantly like dressed up and wore wigs throughout the process, but on chemo 8 of 8 I was just like, I'm just going to dress comfortable. I didn't wear a wig, and that was fine. I took a little video in the hospital, so I might have included that in this video as well. They always call out your MRN number, which I guess is like your patient number in the hospital, and it kind of reminds me of being like a prisoner, being called by that number. I've memorized mine by heart, but I won't share it here because it's probably confidential information on there, even though I share that all with you anyway. I found that it's better not to eat during chemo for me, and just kind of fasting on that day. And the days that I did eat, I just kind of had this weird hiccuping and burping thing later on. So that would just be a tip or trick that I'd tell people if you are going through this type of chemo. Maybe just try and fast a bit, and just eat plain foods, I think. The chemo itself was straightforward. I was feeling a bit unwell with a runny nose and cough the night before, and I had this ear pain before I was diagnosed, and it kind of came back, so I got a nurse practitioner to come and check that out, but they didn't seem too worried about that. There are exciting opportunities coming up in August. I am hopeful and cautiously optimistic. Today I had lunch with my best friend, and I had a counselling appointment with Mary. It was actually my last counselling appointment with Mary. I went to a group called So Brave, which I mentioned in my last video, and I'm hearing more and more about mums that get diagnosed with cancer postpartum, and I do think it's something we need to look at more as a society. There's so much research that could be done in that space, and I think, you know, I was dismissed a lot of times when I went to the doctor as a new mum, and that, you know, the symptoms I was having were because I was a new mum, when actually there was something more sinister going on. And I definitely had symptoms for at least 6 months before I got my diagnosis too. And there was someone in my local community that recently passed away from cancer, and that had a big impact on me. That person had a 2-year-old, and her husband put out the eulogy, and I'm so sorry for that family's loss. And I just feel so grateful to still be here when some other people just don't get that opportunity. So I'm feeling like I have this higher purpose. I'm feeling, and it's hard because you go to places you used to go, and people that you like meet people you used to know, and they're still lovely. Like, I have great relationships and friendships with people, but it's just kind of like now I'm operating from this new state of deep purpose. So that's interesting to go through. Not something that I would have thought would happen. I guess I'm just like not sure what comes next. And I just said as well that, yeah, like some of the things I got to do, like catching up with my friend Emma and her new puppy and her dog over the weekend, going to see her local high school put on a performance of Legally Blonde, driving to Bungendore with my sister, my friend Chelsea, another Chelsea, visiting from Melbourne at my in-laws' place last night. They just kind of all made me feel like myself again, and happy and motivated and energized. I am feeling a little bit fatigued today, but I usually go to bed at 7:30, and I think last night I went to bed at 10:30 because we're just spending time with my friend Chelsea from Melbourne, and that was so lovely. Today was my last counselling session with Mary, and we talked through a bunch of things, as we always do. We talked about operating at a higher frequency, aligning with your purpose and being purposeful. I talked about, you know, how I feel like cleaning, and she said, I think your mind is also decluttering. She said, like, what is meant to be will come. So you just, yeah, like it'll just come to you. Because I'm like, what's next? What am I going to do with all this now? And she said it'll come, and I trust that. She said at the outset, remember, like I've told you in videos past, that she can't wait to see the miracle of my healing unfold, and that's something I've held on to. And so I was just saying thank you very much to her for sharing those words. And she said that I'm a blessing to her, so nice, and reminded her why she is a counsellor. Then she said it's our last session today, by the way, and I was like, oh, that's not good. But she said to touch base sometime in the future, maybe send her an email how everything's going. And I told her that I would invite her to my book launch one day. And yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to say for that part. There's so much to look forward to, but I want to leave the chemo number 8. I want to leave all that stuff in July, which is why I'm recording it today. And now I feel like I can move on and start the next chapter. Take care. See you soon.